Okay, so the next person you're going to be hearing from is Sarah Fuller from Opus Lactation. She is an IBCLC, which stands for International Board Certified Lactation Consultant. I learned yesterday that there are only about 32 or 33,000 IBCLCs in the world. So Sarah is a rare breed. And she specializes in lactation support. And if I could make my dream perinatal world, if I got to wave a wand and make all of the choices, there were a lot of things that would be different, but one of them would be that I would hire everyone or assign everyone an in-home private IBCLC. I totally believe in and love the lactation care that you can get in a hospital setting, but there's really nothing that can beat somebody coming into your home, meeting you in your space, and giving you consistent care, right? So, like, it's that continuity of care, the fact that you could meet with Sarah prenatally, you could talk about your goals. She can come to your home as soon as you're home with your baby, and she could be with you throughout your entire breastfeeding journey if that's what you choose. So, I just think that that's incredibly valuable. And I love to refer to Sarah. Sarah is my parent trip partner, but we also have a very large crossover in our client base because I really believe in the work that she does, and I am happy to share it with any of the clients that trust me with their care. So I trust them with Sarah, or I trust Sarah with them. So,
I appreciate that.
yeah. You feel ready to chat, my friend?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, I'm gonna go away.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Sarah of Opus Lactation, as Olivia just said. I'm super excited to be here, and I'm excited to talk about lactation with you. It is just something that gets my wheels turning. I love it because the solutions and the answers never end. And that's something that I love about lactation care, is that there is no one prescription, there is no one answer. And so I love getting to create that one-on-one relationship with my clients, and getting to hear their stories, hear how they got where they are, hear their goals and their dreams for their relationship with their baby. And then we create an individualized plan. So I just love talking about this stuff. So a little bit about me. As Olivia said, I am an IBCLC. I did a whole bunch of training specific to lactation work. I sat for the IBCLE exam and became a certified lactation consultant. It's been over 2 years. I have been a parent for over 10 years, and the whole journey started with my first kiddo. We had some major nursing struggles, lots of clenching of teeth and toes, clenching everything really to get through the pain. And I am just a very persistent, stubborn person. And so we pushed through it, and that's not how it had to be. You know, if I had known better, I could have found somebody, I could have called, I could have gotten help, and I wouldn't have had to be in pain for as long. I think it was like a good 6+ weeks of pain. And once I realized, especially once I had my second kiddo, and I got some advice from my visiting nurse midwife, just on like positioning, and all of a sudden everything was working right. And I realized, oh, it didn't have to be hard. I just needed help, and I needed to ask for help. That is like my number one thing. If I could impart that advice to every single, probably person on the planet, but specifically pregnant person, is ask for help. And when it's offered, take it. Because I didn't do that. And I wish I had. So I started this journey to be able to offer that to families. I am a firm believer in whatever works for your family is what works for me. I have a lot of evidence-based information, but I am not here to shame anyone. I am not here to say my way is the best way. I am here to help you fit feeding your baby into your life and into the relationship that you want to have. And that can look a lot of different ways, right? So you can have folks that are exclusively nursing. You can have folks that are exclusively pumping. You can do a mixture of breast milk and formula. There's a whole lot of different ways that can look, and you can still have a wonderful feeding relationship. So my goal, whether I'm helping you just like right after birth to nurse well and without pain, or whether you're worrying about your supply and we're in a couple weeks, My goal is to really get down into your history and figure out what's going on. You know, do we have latch issues? And latch issues can cause pain. They can also cause supply issues. And so if that's the case, we work on figuring out the right positioning for you. Sometimes the baby's anatomy gets in the way. And we have this tendency to put blame on ourselves as parents, I feel like, for what's going wrong. And sometimes there's just something going on with anatomy and we can work on it. It's not something that like you did wrong. So in this particular case, it tends to be tongue tie. Sometimes it's just tight muscles. So that's why I love to refer to Dr. Molly, who does craniosacral therapy on infants, because sometimes there's just tightness, right? Somehow the way they were in the uterus can cause things going on that need to be released. And sometimes when we release them, it actually can resolve the problems. Sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes every appointment I do an oral exam. Sometimes that leads me to say that we need to refer you to see an ENT who's going to do a tongue tie release. Hopefully I don't actually diagnose. So I'm using my knowledge to assess and see if I think there needs to be a diagnosis. So that's what the ENT does. And then they recommend if you get a tie release or not. So there's that piece of it. There's a lot that goes into it, right? So there's the anatomy piece, there's the emotional piece, and the emotional piece can be recovering from birth. It can be learning to function with an infant or maybe with a sibling. And so I'm here to support through all of that. So every appointment that I have, you get a care plan from me afterwards in writing, because I know with 3 kids, I know how easy it is for that information to leave your brain. So you get a written care plan and resources on there to help you through it and to help get you the support that you need. You know, a lot of these parent trip providers have been great resources for me to send my clients to. When it comes to the current moment in our world, I'm doing mostly virtual support. So the way that my appointments look like right now is if you were to hire me for an initial consult, we start virtually, no matter the case. I mean, I suppose there hasn't been yet, but there could be a really extreme case where I would just go straight to your home. But for the most part, we are starting virtually. So you fill out your health paperwork, history paperwork online, and then I review it, and then we have our appointment online virtually. And we talk about it. We talk about all the things going on, and sometimes I can help through this medium, right? Sometimes I can see what's going on. Sometimes we can correct positioning through video screen. Sometimes we can talk about ways to boost supply. But once in a while, I feel the need to go in person. And most of the time that's because I need to do an oral exam. Or maybe we need to do a weighted feed to make sure baby's getting enough milk. So if that's the case, we start out virtually and then we plan a time as part of your initial consult for me to come into your home. We wear a mask and we sanitize everything. We do all we can, right, to be safe. So that's what that currently looks like for me. And it's actually working really well. One of the things I love, you know, I like to find the silver linings. One of the things I love that this has done is like really pushed us to improve our virtual consults and the systems that we use. And one of the things that I love to do that I'll talk about just for a few minutes here is talk about inducing lactation. And that is something that you don't need me in person for. I can help anyone, anywhere, talk about inducing lactation. So what that is you do not have to be pregnant to bring on milk. You do not have to have ever been pregnant. Our bodies are magic. It takes some work and some major dedication. So the situations where that might happen, a big one is sometimes postpartum nursing is too hard. It's too much. Maybe you're dealing with some mental health stuff. Maybe you have some major medical things that happen. And so you stop nursing. And so maybe you get a month or 2 and you're like, man, I really wanted to do that. We can induce lactation to bring your milk back and get you into a nursing relationship. That's one situation. Another situation would be if you are in a relationship where there are 2 partners who might both want to nurse. So the birthing partner will automatically have lactation come on as part of the birthing process. And then I was about to dive into to the nitty gritty of all of that hormonal stuff that happens, but let's stay on topic. The other partner might also want to induce lactation, right? So then both partners could feed baby and have that amazing bonding time, and it's just pretty wonderful. So that's an option. Folks have done inducing lactation for adoption. So that's another option. That one's a little trickier because a lot of times you don't know when you're going to get the baby. And so that can be really difficult to figure out the timing, but it's something that has been done and can be done. So really, anytime someone wants to figure out how to feed their baby at their chest, we can make that happen. And that's one of the things that I love about that individualized care, right? I'm going to talk to someone and we're going to find out how do you feel about taking hormones? How do you feel about herbs? How do you feel about pumping? How does that fit into your schedule? And so then we come up with a personalized plan. It takes a lot of work and dedication, but like we can figure out a plan that works best for that person. So I'm a big nerd about that. Talk to me anytime and I will have a great time with it. And virtual consults work really well for that. We can hang out and just talk about your goals and what you would like to have happen within that relationship, and work out a plan together. So I'm going to look in this chat and see if that's a question. Nope, it's not. Hi.
Can I ask you a question?
I would love that.
I'm wondering about with inducing lactation, which is something that I think is so amazing that it's possible and fascinating. I'm wondering if you need to have a uterus in order to induce lactation.
That is a good question. It complicates things if you don't have a uterus. You do not. It is less likely that you would get a full milk supply. And a lot of it too will depend on where you are in your journey with hormones. Mm-hmm. So if you already have developed breast tissue, it's going to be a whole different thing versus if you don't. So no, you don't, which is part of that magic, but it does add another layer of complication, and you often don't see a full milk supply with that situation.
Okay.
I was just reminded of a question that Robin, who we talked to yesterday, got about comparing hospital IBCLCs to private practice. And I think I've got like a minute, right, to address that?
Go for it.
So there are hospital IBCLCs, which is fantastic. And they are normally nurses also. And I love that that's available, but there are some downsides. One is that you don't know who you're going to get. And you might see one IBCLC today, and you might get a different person on shift that night or the next day. With me or another private practice IBCLC, you're going to build a relationship with them, and they're going to be with you through the whole journey. Also, hospital IBCLCs are following hospital procedure. And not to say that those things are wrong, but as my own business owner and as my own entity, I get to take the time to do my own research, to make my own policies. And I'm a big fan of following current research. So anytime I have a question about something, I love to go and do the research. Bit of a research machine like those doulas to find out where we're at with the current, because a lot of times it takes a while to get new information into the medical system. And so I can take the time. And that's my final point about the difference, is that the amount of time that a hospital IBCLC is going to have for you and the amount of time they had to look at your chart ahead of time is going to be a lot shorter. The time that I spend reading folks' medical history ahead of my appointment is as long as I need, really. Like, I take my time, I make sure I read through it. If there's medications listed on there, I have a whole guide that I check to see how compatible they are. And I really take my time. And then once we get to the appointment, then we can really focus on the relationship building and hearing the story, because everyone has a story, and that really influences how we are going to be able to bond with our infants. So the amount of time that a hospital IBCLC is going to have with you is not going to be the amount of time that a private practice IBCLC would. So, yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing that information. Beep, beep.
Beep, beep.
Thanks for watching. If you liked our channel, please make sure that you hit the button at the bottom and subscribe so you don't miss any other videos we have coming up.
If you want to know the moment we post, hit that bell to notify you.
Ding, ding. We're also on Facebook and Instagram.
At the Parent Trip PDX.
And we have a Patreon that we'd love you to check out.
We do all of this for free. We love to support you. We love to share all these resources, but it would help us out a lot if you came and gave us a little support so we can keep doing what we do.
Thanks.